He was considered one of the best Hispanic singers of his era, broke ground in country music in many, many ways, and his application of Texas country and Tejano music will always be appreciated. Johnny Rodriguez, unfortunately, has passed away at the age of 73 in Corpus Christi, Texas. Now, born Juan Raul Davis, Johnny Rodriguez was an American country music singer. He infused his songs also with the Latin beats and sang selected verses of song in Spanish. Now, in the 70s and 80s, he was one of country music's most successful male artists, recording a string of hit songs, such as the classic You'll Always Come Back to Hurting Me, Desperado, Down in the Rio Grande, and Foolin'. He recorded 6 number one country hits in his career. Now, he was active from 1972 to this year on numerous labels, including Mercury, Epic, Capitol, and Paula. Now, born into a Mexican-American family in Sabinal, Texas, on December 10, 1951, he was the second youngest in a family of 10 living in a 4-room house. Growing up, he was a good student at school and an altar boy for the church. He was also the captain of his junior high football team. Now, when Rodriguez was 16, his father passed from cancer, and his older brother, Andres, died in an automobile accident the following year. The two incidents had an effect on Rodriguez, and he became, unfortunately, a troubled teen. Now, at 69, at age 18, he ended up in jail. He sang frequently in his cell and was overheard by Texas Ranger Joaquin Jackson, who was impressed and told promoter Happy Shahan about him. The common story told is that he was arrested after he and some friends were caught stealing and barbecuing a goat, although Jackson will later state that Rodriguez was jailed simply for an unpaid fine. Now, Shahan then hired Johnny to perform in his local tourist attraction called the Alamo Village. During one of his sets in 1971, he came to the attention of country singers Tom T. Hall and Bobby Bare, both great songwriters as well, who encouraged Rodriguez to go to Nashville. The 21-year-old arrived there with only a guitar in his hand and $14 in his pocket. He soon found work for Tom T. Soon found work for Rodriguez running his band as well as writing songs. Now, less than 1 year later, Hall took Rodriguez to Mercury Records' Nashville division and landed him an audition with the record label. After performing the songs I Can't Stop Loving You and If I Left It Up to You, he was offered a contract with Mercury. He signed and began recording in their Nashville studio. Now, after signing with Mercury, his first single release was 1972's Pass Me By for Only Passing Through. This recording was a success, going to number 9 on the Hot Country Songs list that year. Rodriguez then became the first well-known American of Mexican descent as a country singer. Now, there were various Latino singers in different genres, including Ray Feliciano, but Feliciano was more considered kind of folk, soft rock. That category wasn't pure country. Now, in 1972, Rodriguez was voted the most promising vocalist by the ACMAs. The next year, he achieved his first number one hit song, You'll Always Come Back to Hurting Me. Another song that year, Riding My Thumb to Mexico, written by Rodriguez, was also number one. Both songs were also listed in the Billboard Hot 100. Now, in 1973, his debut album was released, which rose to number one in the top country albums charts. He was nominated for Male Vocals of the Year by the CMAs. In addition to his success in country, he also had a role in the TV show Adam 12 and made a guest appearance on The Dating Game, mainly because of his good looks and great charisma. In 1975, all 3 singles released reached number one in the country chart. I Just Can't Get Her Out of My Mind, Just Get Up and Close the Door, and Love Put a Song in My Heart. Now, his success in the country chart continued through much of the 70s. He recorded songs not only written by himself around this time, but also covers of songs such as George Harrison's Something, Linda Hargrove's Just Get Up and Close the Door, Mickey Newbury's Poison Red Berries, and Billy Joe Shaver's Texas Up Here, Tennessee. By 1975, he was considered a member of the outlaw country market in country music, like fellow musicians Bayer and Hall. Now, despite the outlaw movement fading from view in the late 70s, he was determined to stay on the top of his game. In 1979, he switched to Epic. There he worked with the record producer Billy Sherrill. His first hit from Epic came that year with the number 6 country hit, Down on the Rio Grande. His debut album from the record company was entitled Rodriguez, although all the songs from the album were cover versions. Now, Rodriguez did not make the top 10 continuously as in the past. He did manage to stay in the top 20, with hits like Fools for Each Other and What I'll Tell Virginia. Now, at the same time, he continued to be a popular concert attraction. However, Rodriguez had numerous personal problems, mainly due to his published troubles with drugs. In '82, he did a duet with Zella Lair on the song Most Beautiful Girl, La Chica Mas Linda. The single was released by Columbia. In '83, he went to the top 5 with the hit song Foolin', followed by the top 10 hit How Could I Love Her So Much. However, by the mid-'80s, he was becoming less successful. In '86, he left Epic Records. Now, I'm not really sure because a lot of artists in the '70s, like Rodriguez, really were left in the wake of the new country movement of Yoakum and Brooks and Randy Travis and Lyle Lovett, and it just seemed he was considered old hat by certain people. Now, '87, he moved over to Capitol for a brief period of time. He had his last major hit in '88, When I Didn't, Every Chance I Had, which went to number 12 in the country charts, but by '89, he left Capitol. Now, in August '98, Rodriguez shot and killed a 28-year-old acquaintance in his Texas home, believing the man to be a burglar. In October '99, he was acquitted of murder by a jury. Now, in '93, he recorded an album for Intersound Records called Run for the Border. In the mid-'90s, the indie label High Tone released the album You Can Say That Again. He continued to tour around the country during this time. In '96, he turned to another label, Paula, which issued one bar at a time, but it was unsuccessful. By this time, his musical presence was fading from the public view. Now, from '98 onwards, Rodriguez, who was big internationally, toured the States, as well as countries such as Switzerland, Canada, Poland, the UK, South Korea, and Mexico. He also performed concerts at the Ryman and Carnegie Hall. Now, he continued to tour and record new material, and performing dates in the U.S. and Canada. In 2012, he released his first live album, Johnny Rodriguez, Live from Texas. Now, he was honored by 3 U.S. presidents, including Jimmy Carter, George Herbert Walker Bush, and George W. Bush. He played at George Bush's inaugural ball. Now, in 2007, he was inducted to the Texas Country Music Hall of Fame, which is located in Carthage, Texas. Now, in 2010, Rodriguez received the Institute of Hispanic Cultural Pioneer Award in recognition of his accomplishment as the first major Hispanic singer in country music. Now, Rodriguez was first married to Linda Dion Patterson, a Southern Airways flight attendant from Converse, Georgia. His second marriage was in '95 to Lana Nelson, daughter of country singer-songwriter Willie Nelson. That marriage lasted 7 months. His most recent marriage was to Debbie McNeely, a hair salon owner from San Marcos, Texas, in '98, which we had a daughter, Aubrey Ray Rodriguez, born in April '98. Now, he died at age 73 on May 9, 2005, after entering hospice care. Now, Academy of Country Music Award nominees: Most Promising Male Vocalist, won in '73, and Pass Me By, If You're Only Passing Through, Single of the Year. '74, he was nominated for Album of the Year, Top Male Vocalist, and Entertainer of the Year. Didn't win. Now, at the CMAs, not the ACMAs, he won, nominated for Male Vocalist of the Year in '73, and he was co-nominated in '94 for a tribute to the music of Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys for Album of the Year. So very, very, I think it would fall under the Americana side now. Now, chart position, albums, number 1 in country, Introducing, and Greatest Hits went top 2. U.S. On the album charts, he finished in like the 150 to 170 range. Now, in the U.S., he had 3 charting singles in '73, '74, including Something, You Always Come Back to Me, and Riding My Thumb to Mexico. Now, he went number 1 with You Always Come Back to Me in Canada and the States. That's the Way Love Goes went number 1 in the States, number 2 in Canada. Riding My Thumb to Mexico went number 1 across Canada and the U.S. Dance With Me Just One More Time went number 1 in Canada, and We're Over as well. '75, he had 3 number 1s. I Just Can't Get Her Out of My Mind, Just Get Up and Close the Door, and Love Put a Song in My Heart. But he would finish top 5 in the charts for most of the mid-'70s. Now, in Canada, he continued to have solid hits. Last big hit in Canada, of course, was Fooling, with his number 4 in the States. So he charted pretty well from 1973 all the way up to 1989. Now, he was in guest singles. I Hate the Way I Love It with Charlie McLean, number 16 U.S., 65 in the States. And Tomorrow's World, Various Artists, hit 74. Music videos included Tomorrow's World, Run for the Border, and you can say that again. This was 99, 3, and 96. And Tomorrow's World with director Gastova Garazzo. So Johnny Rodriguez, ladies and gentlemen, a great talent. But the thing is, the amount of 1970s artists like him were big in the country charts, kind of faded in the 80s, had nothing to do with his talent. I'm always a very talented guy. But with the new, the modern female country stars, and, from 80, like Rodney Crowell and Ricky Skaggs and Dwight, and, the rebirth of George Jones and the rise of George Strait, he was a typical 1970s country artist, which means just like Conway Twitty had a big success. He evolved over time, but Rodriguez maybe was pigeonholed being a Latino country star because the market, like you couldn't, like within the French markets across the world, he wasn't as big as George Jones and everybody else. Like he was a great U.S. country artist in Canada, of course, but the international level only got big when he started touring. It took him about 20-25 years for music to be fully appreciated. So we mourn the passing of one of the most important Latin country singers of all time, or Latin performers of the modern era. The results are there, and ladies and gentlemen, like Johnny Rodriguez is almost like, not say underrated, but I think he's been wholly underappreciated. When George Jones died and Conway and all these country stars, it was big news, but I think this should be very big news. He was only 73, he would have had a few more years to go, but he toured constantly, and millions of fans worldwide who will be greatly missed. So on Today and Behind the Tracks, we salute Johnny Rodriguez. Rest in peace, brother. If you like what you're doing here, we're our musical tributes. Let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.